Hello, welcome back to the Stanley Parable 2. So last time I said we'd seen everything through the left door. I lied. There's one more thing I need to do with the bucket, so we'll do that first. Then I'll go
This is the story of a
to the right door bucket endings. Then I'll go back to look through the settings world champion door.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What could it mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed him. The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
I shouldn't be trying to impress my co-workers, I should be trying to impress the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I was like, you can tell this game is infecting my brain. I've played it so much over the past week. When I was sat watching the snooker earlier, I've got a toolbox in the corner of the room. The brand is Stanley, and I was just sat there going, "This is the story of a toolbox named Stanley." Anyway. Through we go.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I love the superficiality of it, just adding in "and the bucket" to all of the dialogue, but then actually the endings are totally different. It's really cool.
Stepping into his manager's
Like the
office,
silly birds.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
Sure can.
Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical
Got my Earl Grey.
explanation.
I'm trying an experiment. Normally I stir the tea bag in the tea, and then I like mash it against the side of the cup, and then I lift it out, squeeze the last bit of the water out and chuck it.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards
tried
an
not doing the
unknown
mashing.
fate. It
Because
would be
I-
all Stanley could do to keep himself
I kind of like
together,
forgot
if
to do it
not for
once, and the tea was
bucket.
really nice.
Soothing him, comforting him,
So I'm just trying it.
reassuring that in this
I think it's
darkest
working,
moment of
honestly.
uncertainty,
I don't
he
know if
would
it
be all right.
could still just be
The bucket is here for you,
a
Stanley.
seaboid
Everything
or coincidence,
will be fine.
but I'll give it a go. So I thought, you mash it, you got to get the flavour out. Mash it, more flavour, more mash, more flavour.
Stanley and the bucket walked
But-
straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Because I leave it, what am I saying? What am I saying? Because I leave it for so long, I don't,
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Understand?
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket
Doesn't
both
matter too
wondered
much,
to
is what I'm getting at.
themselves.
this was what I haven't done with the bucket.
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the
Luckily the
dark
bucket was
void
there to
below.
break my fall.
Thankfully, he fell directly
no.
onto the bucket, which safely
Put me in the
cushioned
writer's
his
room,
fall.
as they say.
Now, what to do next?
So what was the other
Stanley
thing with the
wondered.
bucket being inside?
Stanley
me? I
and the
forgot about
bucket
that.
could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down
Oh.
here. A bit cold, perhaps.
It's a good job we had that with us. There we go.
After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves
Where's
as
the
well,
sofa?
and a
Oh, there
sort
it
of kitchenette that was useful
Outside?
for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came
Jeez.
that it really started to
music.
feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many
Never look up like a
mysteries of
cricket
the
man.
mind control facility. This lack of closure
Oh dear.
began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the
makes
state of their
keyboard
home
noises.
slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn
Oh, damn.
and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply.
What's this?
Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him
Cake or
again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk
New
about,
mug.
was going back,
Oh, I want one of them.
doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator
found
says.
me.
I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Well, okay. There are a lot of very depressing endings in this one, isn't there? Anyway.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
Right, now we can go to the right. Let's go, we've done the confusion ending. So let's go on the cargo lift.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Balloons in here? I think I've been up here yet.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
That is what buckets sound like. Right, there should be a... Perfect. Oh, what's in here? Let's pick up that guy's corpse from the floor as well. I actually don't know what this is. I've read so many little bits and bobs. Trying to find guides for specific things. I've like skimmed over things that I didn't need to know about. I don't really know. Oh, it's number 2 everywhere. Employee 432 observation report. Asked for pencil, pencil not provided. Asked for pencil, pencil not Employee 432 is like a fucking SCP or something. Began to speak rapidly, somewhat incoherently. I must keep the wheel turning, keep the wheel turning. It must go forever. Repeated variants on these phrases for several hours. This is an SCP. Continued speaking as before. Employee is missing, cannot be located. Search effort underway. Still unable to locate employee. Shit, where's employee 432 gone? Will we ever find out? Absolutely not. Oh. Narrator dialogue. Can't read them. Lost cat, there is a reward. Gene. I hope you find him, mate. I hope you find him. Evidence number 252. What does it say on the mug? Time to something. Wake up. Oh, damn.
Okay, this is day number 295.
Is it the same guy?
Take number...
Kevin Brighton.
I don't even know.
Is this a Chernobyl
I've
reference?
lost track.
Lost track, eh?
Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down.
I wonder what the counter is counting on the top left.
It doesn't make sense.
Tape recorder question, not a
There's
Stanley
no
Parable question.
explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything
We're gonna get a jump
feels
scare.
so...
Not coming through the tape anymore
with
either.
this treasure?
Something to
I can
note. It stopped quite early.
I can monetize it.
Of course.
It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that?
Stranger than World.
Who's there?
What? Oh. Yeah, Shub-Niggurath, the black goat of the woods. The goat with 1,000 young. Wow, okay. That was an ending.
All of his co-workers were gone.
God damn.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded.
If I can go to that ending without the bucket, I'll try that in a sec.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge
I love the
was
occasional
simply the
bucket
place
noises
to
you get as
be.
well as you walk.
And here it was. Had the bucket
Heard it
turned out
before,
to be
mate.
correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Gamborata!
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And
wasn't as
then
good.
the first number will equal the second number, and that will
Oh,
be
that
it.
will be it.
We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Taste the sequel. Amazing. There's nowhere else to go, is there?
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself
I've done
and the
that ending
bucket,
now.
his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Very deeply touching. Right, let's see if we can get in that vent without the bucket, and then
All of
let's
his co-workers
go again
were
with
gone.
the bucket
What
and
could
do
it
the one where you
mean?
let the lift go without.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Working hard? Hardly working, eh, Mac?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace? Its subtle charm? No. Stanley knew it was something deeper, something darker.
Will we?
Yes,
Oh.
really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have
That's not
mysteriously
natural time.
vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Not even near.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Is this going to be just the same?
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path.
Alright, so this is what this ending's meant to be.
So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Was that an ending? Oh, that was a bit crap.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
Just to see if
when Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness.
Honeypuss.
Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. Then it came back, and lingered for a minute or two. Now it's only half there. Just a kind of, tingle. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Nothing else up here, was there? I didn't think there was anywhere else I could go from over here. It's all pretty, deadly. Who needs crouching? Not me. Always worth visiting an ending again.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation
because it was short,
that
I didn't
would
mind
be.
trying that
All
one
the
again.
back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do.
I get a load of inspiration for
now I've become sad.
immersive engineering builds in Minecraft.
This is
from this
all
game.
your fault.
Jesus, my neighbour. He's not well. He's always shouting and screaming about Interpol and you terrorist, and I'll put a bullet through your head and everything. Someone else has called the police on him twice.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Must be annoying to have your own office and then just have a fucking window.
No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Have windows so that everyone can fucking see it. Anyway. Were they missing? Help.
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace. Protective, yet delicate. Assertive, yet compassionate.
Get over here.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon
You're not meant to do
this
this,
will end.
unfortunately.
He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer.
That's a shame.
Here it comes.
Thought I'd discovered something. I don't want to listen to this awesome sound effect again. It's good, isn't it? Dunk. Push me, and then just touch me, till I can get my satisfaction. Can get the timing right.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
I need to get the bucket out that window.
Ah, Stanley's bucket, the only co-worker he would ever truly need.
I thought that closed at some point. No.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting
Right,
room.
now we're going
But Stanley had felt the bucket
let the cargo
calling
lift
to
go
him,
and then jump
telling
off.
him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Rocket was bong.
Stanley took the door
Ding
on his
bong.
left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket.
True.
Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices?
I just held
It's
shift because I was
true.
going to go to the edge.
You can fall on a
Same
bucket from
Minecraft.
literally any height
Oh.
and survive.
I discovered that in the monitor room. Let's do it.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Whoops.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door,
it closed that
I can
time.
make it through them all.
How come I got it to not close before? That's strange, I don't understand that. Was it like going sort of tentative, made it stay open or something? Is there something in the code?
Is Stanley,
sure.
without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No. No, surely not.
I liked the other bit of dialogue. Stanley pressed the bucket against everything. just that image is quite
Stanley
funny.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no.
No.
Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think. But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket,
That's the same one I
his
got
dearest
from
friend.
jumping off earlier.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
How deeply dead. I'm just like fucking QA testing at this point, aren't I? Finding every single... See, this is...
All of his co-workers
Closed
were
that time. I
gone.
don't know how I
What
managed
could
to
it
not make
mean?
it close that one time.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
That's strange.
Perhaps he had simply missed
I
a
have to
memo.
review the historical documents and see what I did
As Stanley
differently.
lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets.
That's how buckets
everywhere.
work.
This
connected.
adventure, he decided, was for all of them.
Quantum entanglement.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the direct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was
Sorry, we just go to
wrong.
the same thing over and over again.
Stanley took
I've
the
got to
door on
find
his
all the
left
branching
to
paths
go
though, it's
back to
important.
the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good, yes.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
I'd never disobey
Stanley
my
did not
bucket.
question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk.
do you know?
But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I hope that if we go to the apartment, there'll just be like a family of buckets there instead.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
There will be blind in there.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Anything else? Lovely lighting effects. Oh.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
47B. Ah, the beige pages, not the yellow ones. Nice little place. Oh, it's the bucket. Sunset, I thought it said stuff. Jazz music. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press F to take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Press L to take me back home with you.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Press B to go back to work.
Well, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen to the loud man. Press C for us to go back home.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
What's in here? Void space. Press Z to ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press M to go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer
Okay, we have
inspection,
some
that
eats.
it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
I didn't notice that before. Buckets everywhere. A bucket in this. No. Press Q to relive this same day with me over and over.
Oh my god, what am I saying?
That was an excellent transition to that shot.
It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's
constantly over your
so
shoulder.
much more than just a regular bucket?
Buckets are like an SCP. Press L to go home to work to home to work to home.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. Oh, no. What's going on? Why do I want to be in the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Jazz Knights with the bucket, obviously.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it
Close your
or I'll...
eyes. Oh. Go back to work, Stanley. That was a good one. I did like that one a lot.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. What new mysteries lay in store for our bucket-loving heroes today? Let's find out.
Hooray!
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No.
Finding all my shortest possible paths, like an electron.
The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No.
I love that the balloons are great. I don't have said that last time.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top.
Oh, there's loads.
There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
Counterweight on
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket
Can't see the guy's
asked.
mangled corpse from down there. or down there, rather. Not from down there. Just down there.
In here,
said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone,
said the... Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker?
Both of those things.
Oh, comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is.
Oh, God.
It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing?
Oh, yes.
What is comedic timing?
Jesus.
How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time.
I'll have to freeze frame that.
With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half,
Okay.
pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the... I don't want to scream it because these thin walls.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times. Just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Yes. Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated.
Yeah, that was fucking decades ago.
I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Isn't it, oh, I'm going. There's a game, isn't it an amnesia game where you're picking up tapes? I'm sure, maybe that's what that other ending was referencing. Not Chernobyl. He wasn't uncovering anything, he was just being hunted by Malaktabeth or whatever it was called.
I can feel
it wasn't Malaktabeth, but I like that one.
I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches.
A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous.
How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we have the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure.
No.
The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
I haven't found the room that just ends in a loud bee noise yet. I'm beginning to think those newsletters weren't real.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy.
Not capitalized anymore.
I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp.
Oh.
I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my... Is
that it?
Here we go.
Oh.
You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
What happens if you go to the right? The left, rather. You know what I mean. Oh, I can see it's that room now.
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Okay, it's like in the other one.
Here we go. You ready?
Resets.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Like the other one, you should just reset every time without the bucket. It's doing the same. Oh shit, okay, well we have to go through it.
What? We're back at the phone already? Oh, no.
Okay, so now we'll go left.
Here we go.
So it does look
You ready?
like the
When
pre-bucket
Stanley
ending.
and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley.
Also the
I'm going
bucket's
to be
fault.
ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes.
Could have done with a
But
laugh
let me
track.
try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame. Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good.
You can't get a handle on
Jim.
them, can you?
I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Well,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could
you
it
meant to
mean?
get out of there.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Now this, Stanley thought to himself, this
is a bucket.
And indeed it was. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Hang on. I just want to say Stanley Parable window. Like, what makes it open? Because I'm sure it was making noise before. That's how I noticed that there was a way to go there. You could hear the wind outside. Is it just always
This was not
open?
the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling
Was the other
to
thing
him,
just some
telling him that
glitch
the
whatever?
employee
No,
lounge
yeah.
was simply the place
I'll try
to
next
be.
time.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket
No,
was
I'll do all
wrong.
these first, then I'll try it.
Stanley took the door
Few
on his
more
left
endings down
to go
here.
back to the meeting room.
2, I think.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo
There's-
lift,
there's
yes.
3 really,
go
but
there.
I can't
go
do
to
the
the
art
cargo
ending,
lift.
4 hours to spare.
Good.
You can type something
Now
into the
ride the
console
lift
to
all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
you can type something into the console to disable the movement of the things that in the games that you have to play. But you still have to wait for 4 hours. So that's something to do another time.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have
Just
alarmed
watch a
him,
YouTube
of course,
video for
because
that,
buckets
yeah.
can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Apart from just then when I didn't. Danger everywhere.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign
knew that
right
would come
there.
back into
It
play.
says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point.
Yes.
Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it.
I like that this actually is... It kind of is the Stanley Parable 2, because it is like a whole new game, because they have written a new ending for each of the endings, if you see what I mean. They've just redone them all different. You know, they haven't just done the same one, but now you're holding a bucket. They've actually done different ones. So it's so fucking meta. I love this game.
Misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Yes, sir. Oh my god.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Okay.
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Rule of 3 suggests that the next one should be a bucket.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect.
There we
This is
go.
a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? What? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I
It
thought
doesn't,
this
but
was
the things
a
it
gimmick.
pulls does.
How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket?
Okay.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Yes. Of course.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both.
Both.
Gotcha.
Doesn't make any sense.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Who wants to be a millionaire?
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out.
You and me both, pal.
I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is?
So there wasn't two endings
Am
through
I
Dano then, like there was in the
a bucket?
original.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No, you can't do that!
Okay, here we go.
At least this was the last one.
What happened? Is everything gone?
Oh, the entire game
Why
was a
did
bucket the whole
everything
time.
disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
I was
Every
right.
single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either.
We got that sorted
This
out.
is wonderful news. We're not buckets.
It's good, I was worried about that.
Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, Tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets.
Okay.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person?
I dread to think.
All right, here we go.
There we go. So that is all the endings then, if there was only one ending down that path.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Right, I need to...
Finally, yes, the
Got the window.
bucket. Yes, I love that bucket. Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
I'll get up here. There we go. It's harder than it was before. Let me up there. You can't jump. Seriously, we disabled it. There we go.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped
Don't know
from
what the
that
wind
dull
noise
office
was
and
before.
that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time,
Maybe
I
if
can
you've-
reveal to you...
Maybe if you've never done it, it just makes the noise to make you aware of it or something.
my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own
That's buckets.
complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Somehow.
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata
Gambhorata!
first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are
A
bucket!
toy. You can see the window, reflection of the windows.
Stupid! Why are we
in the
even
bucket.
doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form,
Oh yes.
transforming into a mighty beast of untold power.
We're not going to see it,
its
are we?
fangs glistening like...
For fuck's sake.
My God.
No!
Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise,
Yep.
we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
Oh, I'm loving this. It's so good.
All of his co-workers were gone.
These are
What could
brilliant
it mean?
endings. Right.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
So now,
Perhaps he had
we'll just
simply
forget all
missed
that and
a
pick it up
memo.
again.
One man, one bucket,
And
one
we'll go to the new
chance
content.
to seize their destiny together.
I
Stanley
presume
clutched
we
the
can go
bucket
back to new
tightly to his
content, haven't we?
chest and
Wait a minute.
entered the door on his left.
Can we go back here with the bucket? I just realised something. Oh yeah, shit, no, I need to go there without the bucket to get them. Yeah, no, I've been a bit silly here.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Such as the room cupboard. Okay, so I
When
plan
Stanley
to
came
pick
to
it
a
up
set
when I
of
saw the
two
new
open
bucket
doors. This
ending,
was not the
but,
correct way to the meeting room, and
this
Stanley
way.
knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
That's a good one.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been...
Oh, just
really?
almost missed.
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. And there it is. The last Stiggly
Wiggly.
Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward,
No.
and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Awesome. But just can't be bothered. We've seen all these endings. Now, does something happen with the figurines? That's...
Stanley,
Whoa.
I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things.
Okay.
It's those figurines, those figures.
Wow.
I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most
really fucking
intrinsically
confusing.
fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
Oh, the memory zone.
I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Ding, ding, ding. Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. The collectibles. The memory zone. What's in here? Sounds like a keyboard or whatever it is. Zone, sweet zone. Otherwise this is still the same. Yeah. Oh, looks like we're going Dune Stair. There's no easy way of saying this, but it's just Dune Stair.
Here's where it all began.
Can you
the
find
first
them?
collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent.
I love the
We'll
people
never be like that
grasping
again,
for him.
Stanley.
What a horrific. I have to get one of those walls for my own house. I don't remember this bit.
And here was the second Stanlerine. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me.
I need to do this again. Sorry, everyone. I can see it's a photo now. I'm just getting my thumbnail. It'd be this one, I think. Thumbnail? I don't know why I said thumbnail.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figlers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness?
Yes.
I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
There's one thing I love, it's
nothing
memory
more
zones.
than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time. Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Oh, okay. Looks like I get it again. The other one's still gone. I really thought I discovered something here.
And here was a second Stanley. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Thanks. Oh.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
I guess they would go to the same place and it just says no. I don't know.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Was it?
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found in this pink room.
Of course.
Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Yes. Yeah.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Thanks. It's not often a game gets a literal round of applause. That wasn't even a conscious thing. That was instinctive. That was so good. Please tell me there's credits. Oh. Yes! And they're all the same person. I love it. This is so good.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
That was superb. Oh, game of the year every year. Look, we get to go in here. Oh.
And then, Stanley, we came to the last
I love how they put them in order.
The final figurine.
That's quite
right
clever.
Here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Shit. Yeah. The, what was I going to say? It's probably something that's quite easy to do in modern game design, but it kind of blows my mind. It's just quite cool that how they must have stored the order that you pick them up in So it'll say that, you know, they'll assign each one a number like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they'll say, oh, you got them in like 1, 2, 3, 0, 5, 4 or whatever, and then it'll build the level based on that order, just with like standard interconnecting parts in between them. Anyway. What was the fifth one? I don't remember. The one that was, or the fourth one, or the third one, in the pink room. I can't remember what one that was. Oh yeah, it was in the boss's hallway, wasn't it? I remember now, in this secret room. You are in the present.
And then
Amazing.
There was no more. Because we've caught up
The
to
past.
the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
Oh wow, okay. Is it taking a long time to load?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on.
Because it wasn't actually
Stop
loading.
the loading screen.
Oh, it goes
Isn't there
back.
some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite
Oh my
direction.
God.
See how that feels.
It's gonna. I wonder if there's gonna be any different ones in there.
Okay, yes, the room with the red
Yep.
and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the
Yes.
most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I
It was
want
the
more.
one, the one that happened most recently. I hope there's all different places and shit. There should be. I bloody hope so. Okay, so
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
it got a round of applause. Oh my. Okay.
Yes, I love that video.
You jump off here. I kind of don't want to. We're in the middle of something. I wonder if you can though.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one.
Oh, it's in the
Good
memory
room,
zone.
though. A solid room.
Nice room. Everything's still got office doors and office equipment and everything. And everything.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these,
It loaded the
really would have
office
muted the intrinsic joy of
before I went
collecting
to the
them.
door. I
I'm
just saw
very
it as it
glad
closed.
we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Hang on. Okay. What was this way? Nothing. Actually, it just says, no, 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 that wasn't right.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
Hose, that's where they keep your mum.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
The exit, by the looks of things. We're gonna go back to like the original mod. Oh no. Oh!
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then. But time does put a rosy filter on everything.
Yeah.
In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond
So
of it
disappointed I
now.
used up all my jumps.
Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
More Maries. Ah, two doors.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Oh, well.
And before everything else, there was your office.
Same time again. Is that...
Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember.
Here we
I
go.
can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Nice.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here
Can't I get back to the new content?
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Can't I get into Settings World Champion again? It seems like that option is just gone forever. You know, to go to the... Now that I'm in Stanley Parable 2, I need to begin a new game and do it that way. That's annoying. Oh shit, there's an epilogue now. Let's look at the epilogue. I forgot that was one of the things he was going to put in. Epilogue. Epilogue. Many, many years later. Oh. It's a lovely looking moon. Not sure where that light pollution is coming from. Oh. Chairs. Every chair. Oh shit, it's the memory zone! And the music takes a turn. loving memory, the Stanley Parable 2. Cookie Nine's blog. Cookie Nine didn't enjoy it. I guess they weren't a real person then. Like many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. While the first game teamed with originality, the Stanley Parable 2 is dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fanbase. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into territory nobody asked for. An infinitely deep hole? Who cares? Where are the new endings? What about enjoyable bits from the Stanley Parable 1, like the adventure line? Instead, we get an uninspired side quest collecting figurines. Even this diversion feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines gives you nothing. I must say though, I found the bucket to be quite comforting, a welcome reprieve from... This is also like the default blogspot theme, isn't it? Sorry I haven't been blogging too much. What's SNRAF? Cookie's Corner, we need to talk about sequels. Go Guy Piss Order Boblin. What's this say? Pet Pals Press, the freshest takes and goss. This cat-dog friendship will last forever. We got pretty close. Polly heals Teen Stars family rift. Oh Turtle remembers original mod. Pet Snail, again, drama about Sponge. 500 best recipes for your pet's dinner. So I guess the sequel wasn't worth it in the end. Real web. Stanley Parable developers, no more spin-offs, no more sequels. When the Stanley Parable launched to a massive success in 2013, its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise. But the disastrous critical and commercial reception to the Stanley Parable 2 has prompted the developers to rethink their ambitions, as outlined in a press release they published today. It's clear that more Stanley Parable is just not what the fans want, reads the press release. Pardon me. We thought that we had a vision for the series that players would be excited about, yet it turns out this could not have been farther from the truth. The press release goes on to promise to preserve the artistic integrity of the original game and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. Something lowest aggregate review scores in video game history, second... Get on the green. Sort of Jim buttons.
Jim.
I want to find one that doesn't say Jim.
Jim. Jim.
I feel like that's wishful thinking.
Jim. 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 Jim.
Oh god. Here they all are, all the figlies. Hell yeah. Still gotta collect them. 26 out of 6. Perfect. Something down there. Here we go. Thank you for enjoying the new content. You're very welcome. Davey Reedon, you did a stellar job. Reddit? Hello again. Oh, hello. It's nice to see you. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read what the developers said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise? What nonsense. The Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making the Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy, let it burn. It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Together, we are going to make the Stanley Parable 3. Oh my god. It's simple. All we do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also really need a really dumb subtitle for the game, something loud and gaudy. Go ahead, try combining some random words together to make a new title for our game. The Stanley Parable 3. Now with added thank you. Water. Oh, now with added thank you, okay. The Stanley Parable 3, now with added thank you. It's absurd, I love it. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and then we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, the Stanley Parable will never end. And nothing in the game itself will change when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work, no need to do... Adding more content sounds like work, no need to do that. There we are. It's hard when you're reading it for the first time, give me a break. It'll just be the same content recycled again and again and again, with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. Let's do it. Good, then it's agreed. A new sequel every time you start the game. And you know what? Since you've put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. You see, I'm noticing the narrator never found a way to give you the broken achievement, did he? Of course not. I wouldn't expect him to know how. It's been bothering me. Let's fix it. Alright, there. The achievement machine is all fixed. You see, I'm on your side. We're in this together. We're going to keep this train rolling. The Stanley Parable cannot end. It can only spiral in on itself forever. I must keep the wheel turning. Someone said that before. Who said that? Employee 432. It's Employee 432. We found him. I'm ready. Are you ready? Great. There's only one last thing we need to do. Please enter the current time. Oh. I'm a 24-hour man. Anyway. Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Thank you. Please enjoy the Stanley Parable 3, mate. 3. The Stanley Parable 3. Now with added thank you. So I guess, you can just go to the epilogue again and change the subtitle if you don't like it.
This is the story of...
Still the new...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I want to get to the bloody, New content! Yay! Right, let's take the bucket.
It's bucket time.
Had I gone past this every time? I'm sure I hadn't.
Oh, new
Oh, it's just reset now. Cool.
What does
okay.
that mean? New content.
It was one whole storyline, that whole thing. Do.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Wait, Stanley, I've just now realized that bucket you're holding, it's the bucket I've been working on for my sequel. How did you get your hands on it? Isn't this the preview to the sequel? How do you have the bucket already? This makes no sense at all.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Hold on. Did I already show you my ideas for the sequel? I don't remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order.
You're out of order. knew that was gonna happen. I've got no jumps left.
All right.
God damn it, I wanted to reset
All right,
them.
let's see. It's the jump circle.
Well. God damn it. I want to use some in the expo.
The infinite hole, the giant door, did you see them already? Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How
This
did they
is
look
still the
when
same
you saw
plot thread.
them? Were they captivating? Were they exciting? Did they fulfill on the promise
We
of
haven't
everything
reset.
that a sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game? Wait, if you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly. Yes, you carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish. The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did it! I win! I made a
Hooray.
sequel to the Stanley
It's a tricle now, isn't it?
Parable. Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you.
You're very
Clinging
welcome.
tightly to the bucket, never letting it
Don't
go.
thank me,
It
thank the
means
bucket
I've
for being
won.
so
It means
desirable.
I am victorious over the gamers.
The
It is a
gamers.
sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content.
You're very welcome.
The bucket is the Stanley Parable now.
Well, we've established
they are one
this.
and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket. I win. 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 I win.
Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. It's bucket time.
It's bucket time. Return to the Stanley Parable 2 Expo Hall. Perfect. Now we're back in the sort of, it's not open world, but you know, free choice kind of thing. You can go wherever. Before it was like we couldn't, this door didn't exist. You had to collect the figgies first, and then you'd be allowed back in. Because the dialogue for being allowed back in is dependent on you having gone places with the bucket, which you presumably have when you've collected the figgies.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Lovely.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions?
This was
Think
such a
of all
good
the new
reveal,
territory we'll
honestly.
cover with a fully fledged sequel. An
the
entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have
Pardon me,
truly
little bit
been
there.
asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Just wonder if there's anything about the bucket. In any of
For the
this.
Stanley Parable 2, I asked
If
myself,
not, I'm happy just to see it again.
what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate
none of
the
this is
full
new.
experience
That's fine
of this
because like it was
feature.
new
Just
already.
play along.
You don't expect
I
them to
promise
put new
you'll
stuff on
love
top
it.
of the new stuff. That's not
Okay,
really the
here we
point.
go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your
I've
mind,
got to do this.
forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine your...
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim.
Jim.
All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I've worked very hard on?
Me and the bucket are laughing at you.
Jim.
See, if you'd only played along, that would have been your name the button said. But no.
Jim.
Instead, oh, I can't even think about it. I'm taking the Jim button away.
Jim. 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 Jim.
Oh, good. I was going to say, like, good God, and that's good. I got confusion, it just came out as good. Okay, so nothing here is different, really, but I do want to...
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable too. They would appreciate what I've created here.
I wouldn't mind going to the reassurance bucket hall. With the bucket, see if that's any different. This fucking design of this all... I swear this is from a film. Wait a minute.
Wait, there are two buckets here. How did you get a second bucket? Oh no, the warmth and comfort of a single bucket is already so great, so intoxicatingly wonderful. With two buckets, there's no telling. Stanley, can you still hear me? Are you with me?
Oh my God.
Stanley! Oh, thank God. I didn't lose you. Stanley, the power of two buckets was too much.
Oh no!
I had to destroy both of them. I know how much the bucket meant to you, but I couldn't take the risk. I hope one day you can forgive me.
I don't know about that. Oh shit. Okay. Right, let's get up to that Settings World Champion door. Let's go this one first. The guy fixed it. The guy. You know, the game. Employee 432. Keep the wheel turning.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Hooray!
As you can see, the machine is not working since... What? Wait, what in the holy hell is going on? You got the achievement?
It comes out.
Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched? Oh, God. Composure. Composure. Yes, as you can see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended. It truly speaks to the awe-inspiring magic of the Stanley Parable 2.
What's this for?
Breathe. Just breathe.
Awesome. Yeah, the bucket destroyer was a proper immersive engineering machine. It's very good. In that warehouse as well, it reminded me of the mod Impractical Storage, which basically just stores things as blocks on the ground instead of in chests and stuff, which I really wanted for the kind of warehouse aesthetic, but it's not ported to later versions, unfortunately. Neither is questionably immersive, which has coke oven batteries.
What else?
Anyway.
What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
I'm not coming here with my bucket, unfortunately. I'm allowed in. Hooray!
Ah, I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion achievement. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the settings menu.
Oh.
There's nothing you haven't seen. So, just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bumpscosity. What exactly
They would
is
never
bump
set the settings slightest
viscosity?
every possible
Well,
setting.
I haven't quite figured that part out yet,
Old memes,
but
I
I
love
just know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider, and that it'll be available from the settings menu. We'll sort the rest of the details out later. I hope you're looking forward to trying out every level of bumpscosity in the Stanley Parable 2.
Bumpscosity sounds good, yeah. Okay. Alright, let's get out of here. Down there. We've seen it all before, of course. Unless he says, wait, you haven't seen all the exhibits.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2. Now, all right, have you seen everything you
If
wanted
I'm ever
to? Ready to move on now?
billionaire with far too much money, I'm building this fucking building. This huge, ridiculous building. And that includes the decor. Someone left the cup here. Can't push off the edge.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like or...
Oh, bumpscosity is in here. 0, 1, 12, 50, 76, 100, 1000.
all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent
So we might have
video
to
game,
reset it
but
to do it
I
again.
can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Alright, I think we've seen all this before, so let's just start again. And that's that. So thank you everyone for watching. That is the Stanley Parable 3, I guess. I'll have a quick look to see if there's any more endings I need. Or maybe I'll check again in a couple of weeks once there's another flowchart or something. And then I'll come back if I've missed anything. Like I said, there's one ending I haven't done, which is the art ending. But seriously, just watch a YouTube video, someone else's video for that, because I can't be bothered to sit here for 4 hours. Someone would have done it. But that's it. Thanks everyone. See you next time. Bye.